Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في كلامه المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قد سمع الله قول التي تجادلك في زوجها وتشتكي إلى الله والله يسمع تحاوركما إن الله سميع بصير. 8. The unique feature about this surah is that in every single ayah of this surah, all 22 verses, excuse me brother, can you please exit and talk outside? A unique feature about this surah is that in every single ayah of this surah, all 22 verses has the name of Allah in it. There is no other surah as such. This surah, the beginning verses, is about a husband and wife dispute. The wife, her name was 𝘾𝙊𝙉𝙏𝘼𝘾𝙏 bint husband 𝘗 ibn Thabit. And 𝘾𝙊𝙉 bint ثعلبة accepted Islam early on. Both were Ansari from Medina. She accepted Islam when Mus'ab ibn Umair radiallahu anh first arrived in Medina, even before Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam arrived in Medina. And now in old age, the husband, 𝘗 ibn Thabit, he called, according to one narration, his wife, 𝘾𝙊, to have intimacy. And she said no or refused or made an excuse. So he told her in response, Anti alayya ka dhahri ummi, which basically means that you are unlawful for me as my mother is unlawful for me. Okay, this is called vihar, and in the pre-Islamic era, during the days of Jahiliyyah, this was considered a talaq. And the husband and wife relationship would be severed forever. So now both husband and wife are obviously concerned. What did I say? Why did I say this? I should not have said it. She comes asking Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and presenting her case that this is what has happened. We cannot be divorced in this late age. Akala mali, my husband, I was a wealthy woman. My husband was not as wealthy as I was. He consumed my wealth. Wa afna shababi, and he benefited from my youth. Now what? Now I'm old. I don't have any money. I have bore him children. What's going to happen to the children? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Allah has not revealed anything yet, so you are considered divorced. She said, In damamtu ilay, if I give him the children, then ada'u, he will not know how to take care of them. And if I keep the children, ja'u, they will be hungry. If I keep the children, because I don't have money to feed the children. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, there's nothing I can do for you. It is the hukum of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah has not revealed anything for me regarding this matter. She said, in that case, I will present my case to Allah Himself. So within the house of Aisha radiallahu anha, sitting right there, she turned her direction towards the Qibla and she started making dua. Now she's presenting her case to Allah. And this is how the verse begins. Qad sami Allah. And she says in her dua, Allahumma anzil ala lisani nabiyyik. O Allah, on the tongue of your prophet, reveal something. Send down some verse on the tongue of. He starts turning red and purple and he begins to shiver. As if these were the signs. He would begin to sweat. Revelation was coming to him. So Aisha radiallahu anha says, you can stop your dua. Looks like revelation is coming on Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Look at him. And she looks and there it is, revelation coming down. Spontaneous, imagine. And Allah says, Qad sami Allah. Allah has heard. قَوْلَ الَّتِي تُجَادِلُكَ فِي زَوْجِهَا. The words of the woman who was disputing with you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who was presenting وَتَشْتَكِي, who was presenting her grievances in front of Allah. Allah has heard her. Wallahu sami'un basir. Allah is all hearing, all seeing. Aisha radiallahu anha says that I was there in that room. In those days, they did not have separate rooms like we do. There was only a curtain. only a curtain separating Aisha radiallahu anha from this woman 𝘾𝙊𝙉𝙏𝘼𝘾𝙏 and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But her voice was soft. She was saying it in such a low tone that even Aisha radiallahu anha could not hear. She said, I caught some words, but most of it I could not understand what this woman 𝘾𝙊 was saying. Nowadays, when a husband and wife argue, the whole kept private. So she was speaking in a low tone. And Aisha radiallahu anha could not hear her, but obviously Allah Azza wa Jal from above the seven heavens heard her complaint. Qad sami Allah. And then Allah Azza wa Jal not only stated that I have heard your complaint, O 𝘾𝙊, Allah Azza wa Jal presented a solution that zihar does not necessarily constitute a talaq. What he would have to do, because the husband had said something لَيَقُولُونَ مُنْكَرًا مِنَ الْقَوْلِ, something objectionable, something despicable, and zura, something that is false. How can you compare your wife to your biological mother? Because of the husband uttering this statement, the punishment or the atonement, the kafara is فَتَحْرِيرُ رَقَبَةٍ, he will have to free a slave. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ, he will have to free a slave before he touches her. And if he is not able to free a slave, he does not have a slave to free, then شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ, he will have to fast 60 days, 60 consecutive days, 2 months. And if not, then فَإِطْعَامُ سِتِّينَ مِسْكِينًا, then he will have to feed 60 poor people. This is the atonement for saying something false and ugly. But then once you have done one of these three, then you can resume living as husband and wife. The reason why I'm presenting this story in front of you is not to explain zihar. This is called zihar. In fiqh, this is called zihar, where you compare your wife to a relative who is forbidden for you, like your mother or sister. The reason why I'm presenting this story in front of you of 𝘾𝙊𝙉 bint Tha'laba and her husband 𝘂𝑗 is because to prove that husband and wife disputes do happen. It is normal. As a matter of fact, it would be abnormal. It would be abnormal if there was a husband and wife who did not disagree. Not only is the dispute and the disagreement of 𝘾𝙊𝙉 bint Tha'laba and her husband mentioned in the Quran, but the disagreement and the disputes of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam with his spouses are mentioned in the Quran. Surah Tahrim, Surah Talaq. These are disputes that occurred between the spouses, the azwaj mutahhara, the blessed wives of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Disputes do happen, but one is to minimize the disputes, and what do we say to each other? How do we resolve those disputes is what is of the utmost importance. People come to me and ask me, what is my right? Islam has given the woman rights, the wife, and Islam has given the husband's rights. So they demand to know, what are my rights? I say it's not so much about rights, hukuk, haq. Honestly, because hukuk are the bare minimum that you have to fulfill for the other. That's the bare minimum. It's more about accommodating one another, making it work, changing yourself for the other, sacrificing for one another. That is what is going to make the marriage work. Not just doing the bare minimum. Let me explain. I'll have to give you an example, then you will understand what I'm talking about. We have a lot of traffic laws in this country, and everyone follows the traffic laws, correct? The countries where we come from, I'll speak of India, probably has the same traffic laws, but nobody follows them. You have the same lanes, but nobody is driving in their lane, correct? And green means stop, and red means go. No, you have the stop sign and you have the signal lights, but no one is following them. But I can bet, I don't have the data or the stats in front of me, but if I was to bet, I would bet that there are far less fatal accidents in India per capita than there is in America. Why? No one is following the traffic laws in India, but there are far less accidents in India as opposed to America, where 99.9% of the people are following the traffic laws. Why? Because there, everyone is accommodating the other person. They're making it work, whatever it takes to make the traffic flow. Here, if you have a green, you are not going to look right and you are not going to look left because you have a green. And you expect, rightfully or wrongfully, you expect that the other traffic will stop because they have a red. But God forbid, if there is one person who does not stop on his red and you are continuing on your green, what's going to happen? There's your accident. Back in India, even if you have a green, you're looking right and left. Because there is every possibility that even with your green and the other person having a red, he will still come. And then if he does come, if he does break his red while you have a green, you will stop. You're going slow enough and you will stop. What is this called? Accommodating one another. That is what is required. If you're so worried about what is her haqq and what is your haqq, those are the traffic laws. But you have to be accommodating to one another, sacrifice for one another, change yourself for one another. And it all starts with having the right attitude. Some people have the wrong attitude and they step into the marriage with the wrong attitude. I've heard people say, happy wife, happy life. I said, happy wife, miserable husband. It should be, honestly, it should be happy spouse, happy house. Yes, each one is happy. Happy spouse, happy house. There's a difference between happy wife, happy life, and happy spouse, happy house. What else? I've heard people say, oh, what if she earns whatever is hers, and whatever is his is also hers. Where did that come from? Whatever is hers, if she earns, is hers. And whatever is his is his. If whatever he owned, the husband, belonged to the wife, then there should be no laws of inheritance when the husband dies. Why are there laws of inheritance for when the husband dies if he doesn't own anything and everything belongs to her? No, he does own his wealth, and his wealth is what he earns. Yes, she has the first right on it, not on all of it. Quran says, وَعَلَى الْمُوسِئِ قَدَرُ وَعَلَى الْمُقْتِرِ قَدَرُ. The wealthy husband will spend according to his ability, and the poor husband will spend on his wife according to his capacity. You cannot expect the poor husband to spend more than he can. So the poor will spend according to his, and the wealthy husband will spend according to his ability. What are the basic necessary expenditures of her? Clothing, food, and shelter. Somewhere in those three you can fit manicure and pedicure. Clothing, food, and shelter. Now, if he makes 100,000 and it takes 30,000 to feed, clothe, and shelter her, so she has the first right, first haqq on the 30,000. That does not mean that 30,000 is hers, but she has the first right on that 30,000, not on the whole 100,000, only on 30,000. That is how much it would cost to shelter her, feed her, and clothe her. That is what Islam teaches us. There's no difference of opinion or school of thought in this. Very simple. Husband is responsible according to his ability, and he will spend on her. Now, sometimes I hear the husband say, oh, there's plenty of fish in the sea. In other words, if not this woman as a wife, I can find another wife. How dare you say that? Is there another woman in the world who can become the mother of your children? Who can be the mother of your children? There's only one woman in the world who is the mother of your children, and that is your current wife. Some people will say the grass is greener on the other side. Oh, believe me, the grass is never greener on the other side. It's never greener on the other side. So we have the wrong attitude stepping into a marriage. Yes, so when there is a dispute, and there will be disputes, as I mentioned in the Quran, there are disputes of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his spouses. But how to resolve those disputes? Number one, few pointers. This is not an exhaustive list, just a few pointers. Number one is, how do we talk to one another? We should remain civil, not put the other person down in a condescending tone, humiliate the person, embarrass the person, make the person feel awful. No. You can say, there's two ways to say something. You can make the criticism or positive criticism without putting the other person down. There was a king who had a dream, and he had a dream that he lost his teeth, all his teeth. So he asked someone for an interpretation, explanation of this dream, and that person said, oh, all your family members are going to die before you. So the king said, what a bad explanation. Off with his head. All my family members are going to die before me? Not a good explanation. Then he called another person and said, what is the explanation of this dream that I have seen? That person, he said, he was a wise person. He said, you will outlive all your family members. He said, this is a good explanation. This is a good explanation. In essence, both mean the same thing. All your family members will die before you. You will outlive all your family members. How do you say it? How do we, when we speak to our spouses during the course of a disagreement, dispute, discussion, debate, whatever you want to call it, how do you speak to her? How does she speak to you? What words do you use? We should be respectful to one another. Respect, yes, respect and love. I've heard a wife say to her husband in front of 10 people, "Chup baitho, tumhe kuch nahi aata. Uskut anta la tarif shay'a." Be quiet, you don't know anything. She said this in front of his friends, in front of 10 people. No respect. Respect and love between each other. And when having a disagreement, don't bring up past issues. Let bygone be bygone. Sometimes usually the wife will bring up issues of the past. During the honeymoon, you said this, and the husband is like, I don't even remember where we went for a honeymoon. And you're bringing up something I said during when your father came to ask for my hand in marriage. Don't bring up corpses from the grave, as they say in Urdu. Don't bring up dead bodies from the grave. Let past issues, if you want to move forward in life as happily ever after, then don't bring past issues. And where there is love and affection, then the faults, when there's more love and affection, the faults of each other seem minuscule. When there's less love and affection, the faults of one another seem huge, right? Think about this for a second. When there's lots of love and affection, the faults seem trivial. And when there's a lack of love and affection, the faults seem like a mountain. Try to resolve the dispute before you go to sleep. Don't leave any dispute unsettled. Don't leave it unsettled, pending. No, try to resolve it before you go to sleep. The reason why I'm bringing this topic up is in the past 7 days, I've come to know of 3 divorces in our community. This is an issue in our community. The divorce rate in the Muslim community is rising. And there is no winner or loser in a husband and wife conflict. If you apologize, if you say I'm sorry, both are winners. If she says sorry, both are winners. There's no winner or loser in a husband and wife dispute. What happens is if one of them is heartbroken, both are losers. Either both are winners or both are losers, right? This is the teachings of Islam. Some pointers I have given you to help us cope and have better relations with our spouses. Happy houses, happy families is the goal of Islam. The family unit is the smallest unit of society. And if the family unit breaks, then all of society, the fabric of society collapses. So it's very important that we have strong and healthy families and loving couples. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us that. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Please pray your sunnah.